becoming ever more powerful in America. What had started 10 years before in New York, the idea that the financial system could run society, was spreading. But unlike older systems of power, it was mostly invisible. A writer called William Gibson tried to dramatize what was happening in a powerful, imaginative way in a series of novels. Gibson had noticed how the banks and the new corporations were beginning to link themselves together through computer systems. What they were creating was a series of giant networks of information that were invisible to ordinary people and to politicians. But those networks gave the corporations extraordinary new powers of control.
We are creating a world where anyone, anywhere, may express his or her beliefs, no matter how singular, without fear of being coerced into silence or conformity. I declare the global social space we are building to be naturally independent of the tyrannies you seek to impose on us. We will create a civilization of the mind in cyberspace. May it be more humane.
Des heures, des jours. nous sortent des milliards de spermatozoïdes, ici très grossis.
Once the Bolsheviks had secured their position through victory in the Civil War, came the discussion concerning what to do about art in Russia. Lenin was aware the artist required creative liberty, but he declared that the regime, not the artist, should and would determine the outcome of the arts. Lenin, speaking in conversation with Clara Zetkin in 1920, belongs to the people. It should reach with its deepest roots into the very thick of the broad working masses. It should be understood by these masses and loved by them. It should awaken the artists among them and help them to develop it to Russia's second-run cinemas. And its foreign sales delayed until pressure from influential writers, journalists and party officials induced Sovkino to send it to Berlin. Subsequently, it was a huge international success, reflecting small credit on the conservative policies of the Soviet film industry at the time. It was only after the huge international success of the film that Battleship Potemkin was shown in the more renowned cinemas in the Soviet Union. The film had been held back by the president of Sovkino. 7 years after the revolution saw the founding of Sovkino, which brought together every existing film company into one organization where a central council was set up to which all scenarios had to be submitted in advance of filming, in which
according to season, they change their tone. These things helped me a lot. And other bird, this is a nightingale. This is crow. He's changing his tone. Other is. So this is natural things, natural place. Lord's house, nobody's house. Practicing open places. Walls have a stuck feeling. Open place have a how much can fly ideas.
Principales que nous venons de voir, on les indique d'une manière très simple en combinant ces chiffres. Par exemple, entre la position 0 et la position 1, nous trouvons 10, 10 barré, 0, 1. Un chiffre reste valable tant qu'il n'est pas annulé par un nouveau chiffre indiquant une autre direction.
To rear. A Bach sonata, a Willie Nelson tune, a grandmother's nursery rhyme, the shell of a crustacean, the shell of a walnut, the love of a parent, the play of a child, and by those limits which organisms characteristically impose. The dance occurs upon lines, lines of flight, the pumping of a heron's wings, lines in the air, lines in the body, lines upon the water. Lines which connect location to location with movements of fear, annoyance, hunger, passion, boredom. Again, lines of flight. Lines which weave together, creating narrative, many narratives. The body of a dragonfly, segmentary stories, numerous lines of light emerging within compound eyes, yarns of conception, sagas of life as an underwater terror, fables which sequence down bodies as chapters in an ancient book. Lines of flight again, fleeing the musty earth, reaching as far as genetically possible toward the light in the trees above. A dance away from and a dance toward. Precise divisions, mathematically innocent. Progressive arrangements, multiplying, organizing, creating near-perfect relations, moving through time. By aesthetic, I mean responsive to the pattern which connects. Aesthetic, not simply to do with the recognition of art, but aesthetic as a way of living in the middle of uncountable lines of relation, a way of living always in response to the movements of the alive. Evolution.
But at a scream given by one of their number, they suddenly go into trance seizures, and with loosened hair turn the krises against their breasts. falling forward on the krisses that are held in their tautened arms. This one is struggling as they attempt to disarm her. In the background, you see the men, also in trance seizures. And here, in slow motion, you see the women. The fumes of the incense that is being carried among them to calm them blends with their loosened hair. This old woman had said that she would not go into trance, but when the others began to turn their krisses against themselves, she joined them. If anyone becomes too violent, they are disarmed. Inside the temple courtyard, the people arrange the trancers in groups to be brought out of trance. Here a group of boy Kris dancers, lying along a wall in deep shadow, are given incense and holy water.
In Haiti, a divine spirit is called a Loa. Legba is a Loa who is the link between the visible mortal world and the invisible immortal realms. He is the means and avenue between them, the vertical axis of the universe. As guardian of the sacred gateway, it is he who grants contact with the other Loa. Legba must be the first Loa to be ritually saluted if this is to be achieved. For this reason, the crossroads is the most important of all ritual figures. Whether drawn in flower on flat ground or traced in the air, the sign of the crossroads is always the juncture where communication between worlds is established, where the traffic of energies and forces between them is set up. Through the center post, the potomitan, the gods enter. At its base, the vevers are drawn. Around the center post, all ritual movements and dance revolve. Rites are a basic African tradition in which the deities play a protective role. They are benevolent and paternal. Laplace, who is an apprentice and assistant to the priest, carries a sword representing the guardian god of the temple. In the terminology of voodoo, it is said that the Loa mounts a person, or that a person is mounted by the Loa. The metaphor is drawn from a horse and his rider, and the actions and events which result are the expression of the will of the rider. It is the center towards which all roads of Wudong converge. It is the point which one travels by the most visible and physical means. Yet to the traveler, it is itself invisible. The snake, arched in the path that the sun travels across the sky. The primordial source of all life wisdom, at once the ancient
Manipuri Hindus started the Sankirtana as a form of worship in the 15th century. Initiated in the palaces by the queens and princesses, it reached its pinnacle in the 18th century with the installation of the image of Govindji by King Bhagyachandra.
Masipun selaga sipun selaga sanggitoris pumun pule. Adana sanggitoris pumun pule na sanggitoris tauraga di pujike jaga jagan sengbagan si yaulo tu siya.
কৃষ্ণরূপী সংস্কৃতি আর অসুররূপী দুষ্কৃতির সংঘাত দ্বন্দ্ব পৃথিবীর ৰংগমঞ্চত চলি আছে। এই দ্বন্দ্ব সংঘাতত গৈ একেবাৰে দুষ্কৃতি বিনাশ কৰি সংস্কৃতিক সমাজত অধিষ্ঠিত কৰিব পাৰিলেহে মানৱ স্বৰ্গ ৰচিত হ'ব বুলি জ্যোতিপ্ৰসাদে ভাবিছিল। লালুক খোলাৰ ৰাজত্বতো এই সংঘাত চলিছে। আসুরিক শক্তির যেন আজি প্রাধান্য।
Roi candile e Brindavoli গাভৰু তামৰ ঘৰৰ মুখলৈ তামৰ ঘৰ আছে দেও স্বামী কোনে নিলে মনি
মণিৰাম এটা আহোম কুহুম বিচাৰি নেপালি
Sanabi. Sanabiya, nang onthokna nungai leram leda. Nang, akhoi bu ningsingdra.